That breaking news at 6. Singer David has been arrested in connection with the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Michael Brownlee. NBC4 Investigates first broke this story back in September when the teenager's decomposed body was found in the front truck of a Tesla registered to David. The car was impounded at a tow yard in Los Angeles after someone reported it abandoned in the Hollywood Hills.
We have live team coverage on this breaking news story. Amber Frias outside the family's home. But we're going to begin right now with investigative reporter Eric Leonard, who is live in the newsroom with the latest. Eric.
Yeah, robbery homicide detectives from the LAPD, as we know, have been working this case for months, focused on whether they could find sufficient evidence that Celeste Rivas had been murdered and whether they could prove who was responsible. The arrest today puts David, whose legal name is David Burke, in custody on suspicion of murder. The LAPD says he'll be held with no bail, expected in court Monday. Our law enforcement contacts told us back in November David was considered the suspect in the case, and investigators also believed it was possible another person had taken part in the murder. Detectives tell us they believe Rivas was killed in the spring of 2025 when she would have been 14 years old. Her remains were discovered inside 2 cadaver bags in the front trunk of that Tesla sedan registered to David that was impounded from the Hollywood Hills last September. The LA County Coroner's Office had said the cause of her death was a mystery, no doubt complicated by the poor conditions of her remains. The coroner removed the case information on her death from public view at the request of the police while the investigation had been ongoing. Now, David has been out of sight for the last few months. The last we heard, he was staying with his family in Texas, and you'll remember his brother and his parents were ordered out to California to testify before a grand jury investigating the case in February. The LAPD tells us tonight the case will be presented to prosecutors for a criminal filing on Monday. We can also tell you that David was arrested in the Hollywood area without incident today on what detectives called a probable cause arrest warrant, which makes sense. That would be why they would be presenting the evidence in court to prosecute, or presenting the evidence to prosecutors Monday, expecting criminal charges to be filed shortly after. Back to you guys.
All right, Eric, thank you. And today's arrest comes 2 years after Celeste Rivas disappeared in the Lake Elsinore area. Our live team coverage of this breaking news story continues right now with NBC4's Amber Frias. She is live in Lake Elsinore, where the teen's family lives. And Amber, just a couple of minutes ago, you spoke with a neighbor who started a memorial for Celeste. What did she have to say about the developments today?
Colleen, she was pretty emotional. She said that she was still shaking from learning the news that David had been arrested. She says she didn't actually know Celeste, but she has a 14-year-old daughter. So this story from the very start just broke her heart. And yes, she started this memorial you see behind me. She says she makes sure there's stuffed animals, toys, always here for Celeste. Also some twinkly lights and candles that she says turn on every single night. She doesn't allow this memorial to go dark. She's very attached to this case, and she said she just really hopes that she gets justice, because that's what she deserves. Here's more on what she had to say.
I started a memorial for her because she deserves justice, and it's been 220 days since she was found, and when I heard the news today that he was finally arrested, I just got chills.
And again, she tells us that she came out here to set up this memorial right when Celeste was reported missing. She takes care of it every day. She makes sure there's always something here in memory of Celeste. And she, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of flowers, a lot of stuffed animals. We have photos of Celeste. So definitely she's keeping her memory alive here in the neighborhood where she lived. Now, her family lives just a few feet away from this memorial. We tried knocking on their door to see if we could speak with them about this, but it doesn't appear that they're home at this time. For now, reporting live from Lake Elsinore, Amber Frias, NBC4 News.
Amber, thank you. Our coverage of David's arrest continues tonight at 7 and on our website, NBCLA.com. In fact, it's the trending story on our homepage. You can find a timeline of the investigation under Crime and Courts.